Yeah. I think we're good. I think we're all set.
Phil, do you want to kick us off and tell people about what's happening after worship too? So I don't really know how much about that. So.
What would you like to go by, Jeff? And on top of that?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well down. Okay. So, again, this week we're very happy and proud to have from Drew University to conclude part 3 of this 3-part lecture series on homosexuality in the New Testament. And just a reminder that there is going to be a question and discussion period. That's going to be in the main church.
It'll be in here.
Oh, it'll be in here.
It'll be in here.
After service regarding Covenant Network. So anybody who still has any questions or comments or just wants to get some additional information, that'll be here at 11 right after service. And welcome.
Thanks, Phil. Okay, so let's wrap up then. So taking up where we left off last day, is my voice kind of echoing?
Yes.
It's okay.
Is that problem?
It's okay.
Yeah.
We can hear. I mean, we can actually hear you really well. So
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Okay, I think I've stopped
I'm back.
echoing. Have I? All right. So the beloved disciple. So John's Gospel, yes, we're told Jesus loves all his disciples, but certain individuals he has a particular love for. So this disciple, this anonymous figure, who is only referred to as the disciple whom Jesus loved, whom we first encounter in chapter 13, and who appears 7 times in all between chapter 13 and the end of the Gospel, chapter 21. But in addition to the beloved disciple, there are a couple of others who are singled out as people for whom Jesus has special love. In the opening verses of chapter 11, which is the beginning of the raising of Lazarus, that story. So when Lazarus falls ill, his sisters, Martha and Mary, send a message to Jesus, Lord, he whom you love is ill. He whom you love is ill. Just parenthetically, it has often been argued that the beloved disciple may in fact be Lazarus. The only other male in this gospel of whom it is said that Jesus loved him. But he also loves the sisters, Martha and Mary, because it says in verse 5, although Jesus loved Martha and her sister, Mary, and Lazarus, after having heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. This love is expressed through physical intimacy, not just in the case of the beloved disciple, but in the case of Mary. It's not Mary Magdalene. It is not, of course, Mary, the mother of Jesus. It's a third Mary, the Mary who is called Mary of Bethany, the sister of Martha, the sister of Lazarus. But you all know But Mary took a pound of costly perfume made of pure nard, anointed Jesus' feet, and wiped them with her hair. An intensely kind of really intimate, physical act, expression of love, of devotion. And here in 1323, what the Greek says is that one of his disciples whom he loved was reclining on his chest. Reclining on his chest. The implication is his head is on Jesus' chest.
When we're talking about Greek, they often make the distinction between agape and eros. Now,
Yes.
in the love, Jesus' love, is there any distinction there, or is that a completely different word?
Well, in all of these instances in the English translation, where it says Jesus loved X, Y, or Z, it's always the agape. But agape is the noun form, love, and the Greek, the verbal form is agapao, and it's the agapao verb used. So it's agape and not eros, the other word, which has stronger sexual connotations. What age is Jesus at this time? Well, according to Luke chapter 3, verse 23, we read Jesus, when he began his ministry, was about 30 years old. So by now he is in his very early 30s. He's had a life already behind him. Was he ever sexually active during those years? We don't know. We will never know. There's no way we can ever know. The Gospels certainly don't fill in that blank for us. But what we're presented with in that anointing scene with Mary of Bethany, and again with this kind of farewell meal scene for when scholars speak of this meal and manages the rest in John's Gospel, they call it the farewell meal, not to be confused with the Last Supper in the first three Gospels. It's actually happening one night earlier than in the first three Gospels. Why did I even say that? Because I'm not going to say anything further about it. So people that he is close with, he is physically intimate with. Sexually intimate? The Gospels don't say that. We don't know. But in any case, there is a sort of an ease, a comfort with a kind of physical intimacy, even between Jesus and this unnamed male disciple that acquires significance in our contemporary context. These, as I said last week, are just some random images from hundreds, thousands of similar images going all the way back to the late medieval period.
Sorry.
No.
Is the original Greek, did it really mean chest, or did it mean something else?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because I forgot to say that. No, what the Greek says is and was reclining one of his disciples ento kalpo to Yesu on the chest of Jesus. And
Well, the reason I asked is that's not his chest, it's beautiful. So are they?
You're saying that in those artistic
It's
representations?
his shoulder. See, is that
Uh,
are the artists
yes.
making a certain amount of work?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Well, I mean, one or two of them that he's kind of leaning on Jesus' chest. I take your point though, because in the Greek it's definitely chest.
Yeah, the reason I'm pointing this out.
Yes, but in my this translation I'm using, which is it's the favorite scholarly translation of the Greek New Testament. I've never entirely understood why, but it covers over the physical intimacy aspect, because it simply says, one of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was, I've forgotten this, was reclining close to his heart. Close to his heart.
So you can imagine if it's in his chest, it would be hard to do that without them both reclining.
Yes.
And you wonder if the artists are taking some liberty in
Yeah. Well, also the very fact that they're sitting upright, as I explained last week, this kind of, dining room, table, dining room chairs arrangement, we think of Da Vinci's Last Supper. That's not how people ate in the ancient Mediterranean world, so they were like stretched out and, reclining on one elbow and eating with their other hand. This relationship, Jesus and the disciple, understandably, has been very important for LGBTQIA plus people, and so these kind of very traditional pious representations here, of which there are so many, predictably and understandably, there have also been, in recent decades, quite a number of sort of more explicitly, queer, affirming artistic representations of the scene.
Were these the two on the left? When were they painted?
I didn't put up the dates, but all three, I believe, were painted certainly in the last 25 years or so.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I just say something? All the
Sure.
images you had before, I mean, the obvious is that there's a closeness,
Mm-hmm.
The implication is different. The implication is that there's some homosexual goings on between the disciples and Jesus. If I put my arm around my friend and I hug him and I go, oh, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, that doesn't mean that I'm into it.
No, but if say you're in I don't know, a committee meeting or something, or even at a meal with a lot of people around, and you not only hug your friend in passing, but you actually spend much of the meal leaning against him with your head on his chest, well, in our contemporary context and culture, that certainly would send a certain signal. I am not claiming that Jesus and the beloved disciple had unequivocally had what we would today call a homosexual relationship. For me, it's ultimately unknowable, but nevertheless, it is what you do not have in this scene and in this detail. What you do not have is homophobia.
Right.
In that, in a fully kind of homophobic culture, this would be, well, I mean, that's the very least that you can say about this scene. That it models a certain relationship between men that sort of transcends our modern concept of homophobia. Now, there are several people hands up, and I this morning was going to move very swiftly through this to go on and talk about the I wanted to talk about, but I have to hear what you go and then, yeah.
I just feel like we get lost in narrowly defined
Yes,
and
yes.
we assign certain activities to, so Jesus loved his disciples, they loved him. This is kind of, I think, a difficult Sabbath dinner.
Yeah,
Winding
yes,
down to
that's right,
destruction,
yeah.
and then to have been kind of dark cloud hanging over this.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can just say, in whatever way, he was comforting and loving his disciples.
That's right. Yes. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
This is so interesting and enlightening in a cool way, because I've always looked at the Jewish faith as being very family oriented, and a nice Jewish boy in his 30s would never not be married. Somebody would make sure he was like attached to somebody. And so
Or live at home.
It's not, of course, it's not impossible that Jesus had been married previously. Perhaps he was a widower, etc. We don't know. It's most unlikely that he had children. I mean, we have so little evidence in these things, but in Mark chapter 6, verse 3, when Jesus goes back to Nazareth and the townspeople are suspect and dubious about him, they're saying, is not this the son of Mary, and are not his brothers, and the four brothers are named, and his sisters, we're not told the names of the sisters, are they not also here with us? So if he had especially a son, we would have expected to hear is that not Jesus, son of Mary, father of whoever. There's so much that we don't know about his life between the ages of 12. I say 12 because that's how Luke's infancy narrative ends, with the boy Jesus, now 12 years old, we're told, in the temple, between between there and, well, Luke tells us 30 when he began. Okay, and finally.
For me, the fact that Jesus came as a human being, but also is God.
Yeah.
It's an example of Jesus feeling everything that we feel.
Right. Yeah.
So if for queer people that's comforting, that's fine.
Yeah.
For me, it just means a very close relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love everybody equally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody loves me. But there are some people that I love more,
Yeah.
and I might even put my arm around them. I love this one.
You had to say that.
But to me, it's an example of Jesus feeling all of the human emotions, but he's also God.
Yes.
And so if that's comforting to you as a queer person, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's comforting to me as his ability to love another, for me, another female, but not in a sexual way. So it's okay with me.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Okay, I really am going to move on now. So actually leave the slideshow completely and let's see, where did this go, Audrey? It's the PDF. Great. So, yeah, I mean, you've been such an extraordinarily receptive audience that I want to kind of take it to the next stage with you and share kind of a few paragraphs from a piece that I have coming out this summer to be part of, an edited volume. How can I make the print slightly bigger on this? What do we do with that?
Good job.
Fantastic.
Great exercise.
Yeah.
Just stay right there.
First, let me set the scene. And so it's a book of Revelation of all places, and you would not have the slightest inkling from the passage as it appears in really every English translation that it has any relevance to our subject matter. So it's the first chapter of Revelation, the author of Revelation, the narrator, John of Patmos, as he's called. He has his vision of Jesus, and it's the only head-to-toe description of Jesus in the New Testament. It's the only description of Jesus, period, in the New Testament. Of course, it's the risen Jesus. So Revelation 1:12 and following. Then I turned to see whose voice it was that spoke to me, and on turning I saw 7 golden lampstands, and in the midst of the lampstands I saw one like the Son of Man, clothed with a long robe and with a golden sash across his chest. His head and his hair were white as white wool, white as snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined as in a furnace, and his voice was like the sound of many waters. Okay, so 1:13. I saw one like the Son of Man clothed with a long robe with a gold sash across his chest. I'm so helpless and useless here. Yes.
Just do the areas.
Good. That would be easier. Thank you. Yeah, here we go. So I saw him like a son of man, clothed with a long robe and with a golden sash across his. What the Greek says is for kind of ease, I'm going to pronounce that like, I'm going to pronounce it mastoi. I mean, a modern Greek person would pronounce it masti, but let's stay with mastoi. So mastoi, singular, mastos, was the standard term in both Attic and Kune Greek. Those, in other words, in kind of classical Greek, Attic Greek, and also in the Greek that was kind of the common language of the eastern half of the Roman Empire, which is why our New Testament is written in Greek. It was the standard term for female breasts. Well, I mean, it sounds unlikely in the extreme, but let me
Why not?
some of the evidence here. And so in the approximately 30 occurrences in the Septuagint, so the Septuagint was the standard ancient Greek translation of the Hebrew scriptures, and the Septuagint was what all of the New Testament authors primarily read. They didn't read their scriptures in Hebrew in the first instance, they read it in Greek translation. In the approximately 30 occurrences in the Septuagint where, well, it unambiguously means female breasts. Mastos also has this meaning in its other two occurrences in the New Testament outside of Revelation. So, you know, Luke 11:27, blessed is the womb that bore you and the breast, mastoi, the nurse too, and also 23:29. So why is the one like a son of man endowed with mastoi in Revelation 1:13? So this is a little bit technical. I'll just go through quickly. So it's a mistranslation by the translators. The translators who converted the Hebrew scriptures into ancient Greek. The Song of Songs, you know, this extraordinary extended love poem in the Hebrew Bible. The second verse of it reads, "Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine." So the Septuagint translators misread Dodeka, your love. They misread that as Dadeka, your breasts. They got confused, rendering it as mastoi, Sue. The Son of Man with mastoi, Revelation 1:13, may amount to a very early attestation of the Christian allegorical reading of the Song of Songs, since it identifies Jesus with the male lover of the poem. In other words, already in the first century, Christians were beginning to read the Song of Songs as kind of a mystical poem about God's relationship with the church, or Jesus' relationship with the individual Christian. And so the male lover in the Song of Songs gets identified as Jesus, and in the Greek translation of Song of Songs, this male lover has female breasts. What I really want to talk about, though, quickly is sort of a very quick overview of kind of the history of Revelation 1:13, kind of down through the ages. So when you get to like about around the year 500, and you have Jerome, Saint Jerome, translating the entire Bible into Latin, and that then for an entire 1,000 years following becomes like the Bible of the Church, the Roman Catholic Church. It's that's much better. Thank you. So he sees mastoi, recognizes that it means female breasts, translates it into Latin as mamille, a Latin term whose predominant meaning was likewise female breasts, and also early English translators of the New Testament are entirely comfortable with the fact that this Son of Man figure in Revelation 1 has female breasts. The very earliest English translation, kind of about a few hundred years before King James, the Wycliffe Bible renders Revelation 1:13 as gird at the tetes, i.e. teats, with a golden girdle. This 1582 Douay Reims New Testament, that was the Roman Catholic equivalent of the King James Bible. And that has girded about near to the paps. So this word, some of you will know, archaic English term for female breasts. The girdle of gold. Let's see, when you finally get to King James in 1611, you have girt about the paps with the golden girdle. This phrasing survives the substantial 1769 revision of the King James Version, and the subsequent revision of that revision, the 1885 Revised Version, preserves the plural girt about at the breasts with a golden girdle. And the revision of that revision, in turn, the American Standard Version of 1901, retains the translation. The tide, however, was turning. Michel Foucault, so author of, the 3-volume The History of Sexuality, hugely influential work, which came out in the late 70s into the early 80s, long ago declared 1870 as the year in which the homosexual as a sexological construct was born. And I talked about that several weeks ago. Well, several weeks ago, I can't be too many. So, when we were dealing with Paul, So 1870 is the year in which the term homosexual was coined, and simultaneously the heterosexual was born terminologically. And homosexuality and heterosexuality coalesced as concepts during the decades that followed. We talked about that a little bit, the opening decades of the 20th century, and began to be socially disseminated. Homophobia was disseminated with them. Boys and men began to be culturally schooled in an ever stricter cis heteronormativity, as we've learned to say, that among many other things made a Jesus with breasts an alienating notion at best and a repulsive notion at worst. So, they were remarkably tenacious. The revised standard version of 1946 it reduced the plural breasts to the singular breast. So in 1946 it becomes, and with the golden girdle round his breast, singular. But the sun was setting on the age when a man, a real American man, a regular guy, could have even one breast. What the man had was a chest. And so by the latter decades of the 20th century, the Son of Man's mastoi were covered up, bound tightly, if you will, in translation after translation, and transformed into a manly chest. Appropriately enough, the Good News for Modern Man translation of 1966 seems to have led the charge, rendering our phrase as "and a golden band around his chest." 1966, that's the very first time that this Greek term is rendered as chest. And the New International Version, which is so very widely used, followed suit with a golden sash around his chest, as did the New King James Version, and too many other English translations to list, including the one I read from here earlier. So, how much more time have we, Audrey?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, great. So I'd actually, I just have just a very little bit more to read, and then I'll open it up to discussion. So much of the stuff that oh goodness, yeah. So big apology in advance. I do not want to offend anybody present, and I certainly don't want to launch into a kind of a political speech of any kind. But since I began this essay, well, it is, academic publications take a notoriously long time to go through production and come out. But since I began this essay, the 45th President of the United States has been re-inaugurated as its 47th President, and in his inaugural address announced, as of today, it would henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. Prior to the address, however, the President had taken his oath of office employing two Bibles, one of which was the 1861 Lincoln Bible, and as such, a King James Version. The other one was the Trump Family Bible, which was a revised standard version. Had Trump opened his King James Lincoln Bible to Revelation 1:13, or had he opened the inaugural day edition and personally patented God Bless USA Bible, also KJV, to that verse, he would of course have been confronted with, you know, the perhaps girt with the golden girdle. Would you have cared? Probably not. But I think we should see much of the stuff that I've been trotting out here. Scholars have always known, but they haven't really known kind of what to do with it. Or let me just say that in recent decades, this detail, this verse, kind of almost automatically assumes a significance that would have been hard to imagine not too very many decades ago, because in contemporary parlance, the Jesus held up for veneration in these verses of Revelation 1 is gender queer. You know, he or she, or better, they cannot be tightly contained within either category of the heteronormative gender binary affirmed by President Trump, purely in terms of anatomy. The Jesus of our passage, purely in terms of anatomy, the Jesus of our passage is female, because other than their mastoid, no body part mentioned in their description, head, hair, eyes, feet, hand, mouth, or face, functions as a marker of their biological sex. So really finishing up now on this, going on right to the end. The contiguity, kind of side-by-sideness of the terms son, man, and female breasts in the Greek of the only physical description of Jesus in Christian scripture challenge gender binary conceptions of the human, or eos, to anthropo, in other words, the son of man. In Revelation 1:13 and elsewhere in the New Testament is rendered inclusively and compellingly in the Common English Bible, another English translation, as the human one. I mean, that is kind of its meaning in the Greek. But it is a differently gendered humanity that the risen Christ manifests in Revelation's head-to-toe description of him. This potentially invests Revelation 1:13 with unique significance within the Christian canon for trans, genderqueer, non-binary, or gender non-conforming persons of every kind within the Christian churches, on their fringes, or outside them altogether. In our contemporary trans-targeting cultural moment, Revelation 1:13 seems to this non-trans interpreter, at any rate, provide a ready-to-hand resource for trans-affirming stuff on preaching from the New Testament, a role it has yet to assume. So that really is the end. And how many minutes do we now have?
About 10.
Oh, great. That should be fine. And Brian asked me before the session started, asked me if there would be kind of some way to also have some kind of like brief wrap-up session in terms of kind of, you know, what should we draw, just in general terms, perhaps in practical terms, from all of this material we've been covering for the past 3 weeks. Is that a fair summary of what you were asking?
If possible, it's a tall order.
Yeah, so let's keep that in mind as well as we open the discussion up. So, yeah.
So, this is just amazing. But when we traveled to Thailand, many images of the Buddha, right? And the Buddha in many ways is presented as anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
And to see that actually present in my own heritage is remarkable. Because when we look at Buddha, oh, that's on the other side of the world. Oh, you know, okay, that's really strange.
Yes.
But the strangeness is in all of us, which is remarkable. So that's something that I take from this discussion today.
I mean, in many religions, around the world, for example, in many, traditional African religions that have a concept of the supreme being, that supreme being fully has masculine and feminine elements kind of in balance. And so it's not being a feature of traditional Christianity. But even aside from this remarkable detail here, there are a number of significant places in the Hebrew Scriptures in the Old Testament where God, in the prophets, is represented using female metaphors. God is like a woman giving birth, or a mother nursing her children, that kind of thing. So
this is interesting because in the beginning there were interpretations that he could have been homosexual, but if Jesus were female and was associated with men, then that would be a normal relationship, right? And a caring relationship.
Again, it's the risen Jesus here, and claiming that this detail in Revelation 1:13 captures some facets of the physical makeup of the historical Jesus, the pre-Easter Jesus, the earthly Jesus. That might be a bit of a stretch. It's not how I see it, but I certainly don't want to, kind of close down that avenue of thought or speculation. Go ahead.
Okay, once again, I just see this as maybe getting too bogged down. And what sex is this? What does this mean? Maybe it's just a total umbrella thing. Jesus' image is male and female in Revelation. And it just encompasses everybody. So it doesn't have to say male, female, gay,
Well, this, kind of that relates to kind of Brian's desire, I think, that we kind of come away with some kind of possible wrap up thoughts, because in part, perhaps I might take you as urging us not to be so terribly, fixated on certain differences between people, but to work on acceptance, and extraordinary things are happening, even very, very close by. The last time I taught the course at Drew Theological School, Gender and Sexuality in Biblical Literature, had quite a big class, and a lot of students in the class who identified as queer, and including 3 trans people. One of them had been working as an intern at your neighbor here, Morristown United Methodist Church, and I didn't see the sermon. Myself, but he in live, but he sent me a recording of it. They sent me a recording of it, and Nate gave a sermon to that congregation, dressed in like a flowing gown. It was an extraordinarily courageous act. I mean, Nate he's like about 6'3". He's kind of built, big man. Currently in his late 20s, I'd say. He has a beard. He has long blonde hair. He frequently wears women's clothes. He now works in the church. He's like an associate pastor. So these little things are happening, and they're kind of extraordinary things, and yeah.
But just because they're happening doesn't mean that they're right.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to be as open as I can to all the changes, but just because something is new, I'm a musician, so just because there's new music out on the radio doesn't mean that it's better, or because it's selling, doesn't mean that it's better than the music that has come in the past. And I don't know, I kind of have that same feeling with this. Yes, things are changing. It doesn't mean that it is always
Yeah. But I mean, what is most changing is that it is possible for certain people who would have had to live in fear of and dread of being found out, now feeling somewhat emboldened to be themselves. Somewhat emboldened, but still very, very fearful. So, another trans student at Drew, who was in that class as well, he read some quotes in the news about the trans agenda, and he shared that it's a trans man, so a person who transitioned from female to male, and shared that his trans agenda daily is to get through the day without being verbally abused and to avoid being beaten up in the subway, you know? So kind of that's the level, I suppose for me, the level of change that is going to happen. I mean, with regard to trans people, what's the national percentage of people who identify as trans? It's minuscule, absolutely minuscule. So it's not the case that, thousands, tens of thousands, eventually millions of people are going to, switch genders. That's not foreseeable. But I mean, for me, it's a question of extending the gospel of Jesus Christ to be more accepting. Now I do want to hear Steve as well. And then we give Brian the last word.
Well, this is not going to capture the summer in 3 weeks, but one of the things I'm going to take away from this is I think you're telling us that so often the Bible and the Christian faith has been used as a hammer in this battle between traditional and more open attitudes. I think you're showing us that although there are a few passages in the New Testament that are easy to use as that hammer, that they really came from a society that had a totally different view of sexuality and can't be used effectively at all that way. And I think you're also showing us that Jesus lived in a world that was very different from this world from the last 75 years of strict heterosexuality. Jesus would not have been comfortable at all with the world of the 1960s and 70s. Or 80s and 90s, whatever world that is.
I think that's a good summary, yes. And Brian?
Yeah, all I said to Steve was, is it possible to come up with a paradigm for responsible sexuality between two people, no matter who they are? What does it look like? Because this is all getting blurred. It used to be one man, one woman, heterosexual, legally married, end of story, stop. It's not that now. That's all I'm saying. It's not something we're going to hammer out in 30 seconds, but I think we could, and let's not say healthy or normal sexuality, responsible sexuality, what does it look like between two people?
Love first.
Yes, that's what I would say too.
All right, friends, I'm afraid to cut us off, but thank you to Dr. Moore for being here for not 1, not 2, but 3 weeks. Let's give him a round of applause. And friends, this is our last Doughnuts and Theology of the program year, which kind of devastates me a little bit. I'm like, maybe we could have 2 more weeks. Just keep going. But I'm so grateful to all of you for participating throughout the whole year, especially these last 3 weeks on this, and for your engagement and enthusiasm. We will have other programs throughout the summer here and there, so I hope you'll keep an eye out for that. Later today, we have our second listening session on what it means to become a Covenant Network church. If you can't make it, I still have the little FAQs here, which are also available online as well, so you're welcome to grab one of these if you can't make it this afternoon or didn't make it to one of our previous ones. So those are there for you as well. So we'll have that after worship, and I just pray it's going to be cool in here and not hot. So I hope you'll be able to come later if you haven't already. Let's close in prayer, friends. Gracious God, today we're grateful for Dr. Moore and these weeks of learning about the New Testament in the context of our LGBTQ community, and how to include absolutely everyone in our reading, in our worship, and in our study. I'm so grateful to everyone in this room and those who watch online for the love and engagement and all the good questions they have had all years. We've talked about almost everything from church history to religious movie posters to Christian nationalism to sense in the Bible to religious education to so many other topics. We're so grateful you continue to call us to learning and to loving each other. May we always put love first. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you all.
Thank you.